Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Spawn. Today we're taking a look at the Sofirn IF23, a light that I have been looking forward to for a while and I'm very eager to review. First of all, I will say thank you to Sofirn for sending this along, but because this is sent along by a company, I just want to say that I do my best to separate any biases out from that, and just like to point out that whilst I am okay with the price point for this light, I didn't have to pay it, and that might have some subconscious bias in my feelings. Right, cracking on though, let's go ahead and get straight in there with a size comparison. Just a quick note, whilst this is the more interesting view of this flashlight, I can't really balance it facing that way up, so you'll be getting this kind of view. So let's start off with the channel staples of a 91mm Swiss Army knife and a 58mm classic down below. Try and give a thickness comparison there as well. And then we have a AAA twisty and a AA real tail clicky. And a more relevant, a AAA and a AA. Get that good comparison there as well. And finally, an 18650. Now this is using a 21700. So this is the size difference between that and an 18650. Primarily just in the thickness of the cell, though there's a little bit of a height difference too. And as you can see, it occupies a good amount of length, but there is quite a lot of space otherwise in this light. As for the tail cap, whilst it's off, we have a good amount of threads and an O-ring, so we get a good amount of wall protection. This is IP68 rated. And whilst we're looking at this, let's take a look at the design overall. Okay, so as you can see, this is a side button light, which is quite prominent above top. It does have in the middle of it a charge indicator, which we'll come to in a little bit. This is aluminium bodied, and then we have black anodize here, and then a silver trim plate around this. This is a diffuser panel with a total of, I want to say, 30 LEDs behind it. You have 20 that are warmish neutral white, and then 10 that are RGB. On the sides we have this kind of chevron design with a flattened portion for grip and just making it a little easier to hold. It does come in the box with the clip off. As you can see, there is a channel for the clip to come on. I put it on personally, I just think it's make it easy to carry. The clip is a reversible clip, and whilst this can go on a cap, it is a very large, heavy light to do that. You can do it. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not the most stable of things. This tail cap here, we can see we've got some good jimping there for removing the tail cap, which is also magnetic. Easily strong enough to hold it vertically. When it comes to horizontally, it's going to depend on if you have a flush metal surface, really. And then coming around to the front, we have an orange peel reflector that is decently deep, so you can get a nice smooth floody beam, but with a decent amount of throw based off of the depth. And you can also see here we have some, I believe, Torx heads on the side panel and some tool marking in the bezel, so you could actually disassemble this relatively easily. For charging, we have a rubber flap on the side that covers a USB-C port. Now this is recessed, but you have a lot of a recessed channel there, so you can actually fit a wide variety of cables in, which is excellent. And whilst we're on design and the USB-C port, let's go straight into one of the tricks of this light. This is actually a power bank as well. So if you insert a USB-C to C cable, as we have one here, it will act as a power bank, so you can charge your phone, your wireless buds, or your other flashlights. And with a 21700 cell in here, it's going to be capable as a power bank, but we'll touch more on that feature later in the video. Now let's get into the UI. This is all going to be controlled through this one side light, and this does come shipped with an auto lockout feature enabled, which works just the same as manually locking it out, and that's just going to be 4 presses of the button. Now if you don't like that, then you just have to press it 4 times. That will shut off. Turn it on later if you're on your own if you wish. Otherwise, the UI for this, there is a lot going on just because you have a lot of like different areas of the light to work with, but overall it's fairly simple for the most part. So press and hold from off, you're going to get a moonlight, and then from there the default is going to be stepping up through the different brightnesses, so low, medium, high, and then double press into turbo. That blinded me just a little bit. And if you press whilst in turbo once, you're just going to step down, and then you press again, going to come off. 2 presses is going to get you into the side light mode. So see if you can see here. Yeah, you can see here all the individual LEDs. And once you're in this mode again, just press and hold to cycle through the different brightnesses. And this does get very bright. This is actually a very capable work light. And then to get into the color or the RGB mode, just going to press this 3 times instead. Default is going to be red, but if you press and hold, this will gently shift through all of the different colors. See if I can bounce this off so you can see it a little better. And the range and the colors of the RGB is actually quite pleasant. See if I can focus in so you can see. Come on. Yeah, so it's the middle strip flanked by the 2 whites that is actually providing the RGB. Now, it does have 2 different modes of changing brightness. The default is stepped. However, let me just consult the manual for this part. So when the flashlight is on, just turn that to a lower mode, and you press the button 4 times, you're going to get a flash of acknowledgement. And then you're going to switch instead into ramping brightness, which is going to give you a smooth progression where you can choose your own brightnesses. And this does apply to both lights. Once you go up, you just take your finger off, hold again to go down. And to change that, you just press the button 4 times again. And then you're back into stepping. Now, I like having the option there. I personally prefer stepped, but I know that there's a lot of utility in having that gradual ramping. You choose your own soft spot. So I like that it's an option, and I like that in terms of switching the options, it is actually pretty straightforward. Now, let's go ahead and get into the different brightnesses and runtimes. So I'll have this on screen if you want to go ahead and pause to get a closer look. But for the forward-facing front light, you have 11 lumens, or 1 lumen rather, in moonlight, and that is going to go for 27 days. Low is 100 lumens and will last 17.5 hours. Medium is 500 lumens and will last for 4 hours, which is a decent runtime on medium with that brightness. High is going to be 1500 lumens and last for 2.5 hours. And turbo is going to be 4000 lumens and last for 2 hours. I assume that there's going to be some kind of step down there. I will have to check with Sofirn just to confirm that or not, but it doesn't indicate a step down in turbo in the manual. Apologies, we had a little feline disturbance. Now moving on to the side light, moonlight mode is again going to be 1 lumen. This time it's going to run for 23 hours. Low is going to be 10 lumens and run for 70 hours. Medium is going to be 50 and run for 13.5. Whereas high is going to be 150 lumens and run for 12.5, and turbo be 500 at 3.5 hours. Now this does also have a strobe mode, which is at 4000 lumens and 500 lumens respectively, as well as SOS and beacon modes should you wish to use them. Now the color side doesn't really have much in terms of information here. I assume runtime is going to be somewhat similar to the side light. I can't imagine it to be too much different, although it's probably a little higher given it only has 1 strip of LEDs. Now with that done, let's go ahead and get into the good about this flashlight. So the first thing is a build thing, and it is just that this is an absolute tank. This feels like it's going to outlast you. It is very sturdy, it is very weighty in a reassuring way, and the build quality is just top notch all over. It's well machined. This gives absolute confidence in that it'll basically go through whatever you want to put it through, as long as you're not intentionally abusing it. Now, I also want to say this is a very versatile light. Between the front and side light and the addition of RGB and the magnetic tail cap, this can be your normal EDC light, this can be your work lamp. This is actually a solid light, and I think this is a very good niche for something like a backpack for camping, or a blackout light, especially since it does have the option of having that power bank. And whilst we're on it, the power bank is an excellent option to have. Now, I have seen other people say that they don't carry a power bank anymore because they have a Sofirn that does that. I would never do that, nor advocate that. A flashlight is never going to be as good of a power bank as a dedicated power bank would be. However, having the option is very valuable, and I do think that adds a lot of utility to the light, even if I wouldn't use it to replace a power bank myself. Now, in terms of the light this puts out, the side light is very bright and very capable, is very usable. I like the quality of the color in the RGB. I actually find things like the aqua and the purple very pleasing. It's more mood lighting, although the red does have functionality, and I'm sure if you're into hunting or other nighttime activities, then you could find uses for the other modes as well. The front-facing spotlight is actually a good mix of flood and throw. I think it's a very solid option for EDC and work. I think it does do both of those things very well. Now, in terms of price, this retails for either £50 with a coupon or on sale for about £38. I imagine the dollar equivalent is somewhere similar to that. There will actually be a coupon code provided by Sofirn down in the description below for amazon.co.uk, so you should be able to save a little bit of money for this light should you wish to get your hands on it. And I also want to say that the UI is actually very good. Now, this light has a lot going on, but the UI does handle that quite capably, and having the range of brightnesses it does, as well as the option of stepped or just ramping UI, does make this very good to use. Now, moving on into the the not so great or room for improvement side of things. First of all, just to mirror the first point, this is a tank. This is a big, heavy flashlight with a big, heavy battery inside. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this is no D-cell Maglite or anything like that. But in terms of the EDC world, where options can certainly be a lot smaller and lighter, this is a bit bulky. That is undeniable. You're going to notice when you put this in your pocket. If you're backpack carrying it, it's not going to be an issue, and I'm sure you could get used to it. Just something you should be aware of, this is a chunky boy. Now, on the clip side of things, now ergonomics on this light are okay, they're not great, and I go back and forth between the clip being just a hotspot or something that adds to the ergonomics, letting you kind of hang on to it and let it hang in your grip like that. Depending on how you hold it, the clip could be a good or a bad thing. It's a nice deep carry, it works well as a pocket clip. The reversing option is an option, and I did try it on a cap, but like I said, with its sheer size, you've got the length, the weight on it, it's going to be usable as a headlamp, but it's not going to be the most stable, and any rapid movements with the inertia could cause it to come off of your cap. So I wouldn't prioritize it for that kind of use, but it is there should you wish to give it a go. One thing I would like to see improved on a little bit is the battery indicator. So we have activated the lockout mode. There we go. So when the light is switched on, you have this green battery indicator, which flashes green when it's charging. Now, green is 70 to 100%, then 30 to 69% it will be red, and then 30% below it will flash red. Now, this is a little bit to me. I would rather have an amber, yellow, orange color there as an in-between. Personally, and I think a lot of people will relate to this, when you have red as a battery indicator, you're thinking, my battery's low. When in reality for this, it just means you have just gone under 70%. And then flashing red, you might think, oh my god. But in reality, with a battery of this size, you still got quite a bit of usable life left at under 30%, even though it's not ideal. So I would rather have a little bit more nuance in there, have red come on under 30, have flashing red come on like under 15, maybe under 10. and then have an orange amber in there in that 30 to 69%. I think that would be just a better design overall. However, this is all, as you can see, very minor stuff. And that's because if you're okay with the price, which is good value, it's a little bit more expensive than some options, but between the battery type and the sheer amount that's offering the build quality, it is very much worth it. I would say if you can get used to the size, if you can grip the UI, which you should get used to pretty quickly, even if you don't use the RGB that often, I think that this is an excellent light. The only thing that I would like to see is this to be a family. I don't know, maybe this is already a thing, I didn't actually check, but I would like to see this format of light also come in an 18650 form factor, because I think that would meaningfully shrink the overall light, maybe take these side LEDs down from 10 to 5 or something like that. I think that would be more pocketable, and maybe even a AA version as well. But that's really it. And I would still buy those on top of this light. I would have an entire family of this light. This is a very good light that I can highly recommend. But that's just what I think. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the IF23. Do you have it? Are you interested? What things do you like or put you off about it? Also, let me know if there are any other Sofirn lights you would like me to check out. This is my second light after the SC13, and I am very pleased with my experience with Sofirn so far, both as a consumer with the product itself and with dealing with the company. They seem like good people. So that's it. Let me know what you think down below. Whilst you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel. We say it for a reason. If you would like to support the channel more directly, please consider becoming a YouTube member or a Patreon subscriber, where you'll get benefits such as early access to videos. Until next time, I'm out of breath, but I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. I hope you have a good rest of your day.